Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! You girls are nothing short of incredible. Over 30,000 views have come in on this YouTube channel. I discovered that this morning. I woke up to over 30,000 plus views on my YouTube videos. Thank you so much for that. You are incredibly sweet. And you deserve all the credit in the world and deserve to be honored. The Descendants franchise is what's brought me back to life, and I love bringing this franchise to life for each and every one of you in return the way it was meant to have been brought back to life. It was just something about the music, something about the story, the way it was choreographed, the way the plot unfolded. A number of different factors has brought us all together. And no matter if you're talking about the original Descendants trilogy or the new trilogy, which eventually will become a trilogy because you can't tell a story in 90 minutes completed, I don't care who you are. I think that this franchise is something very special to each and every one of us, and I think it's been meant to be critiqued in a far better way than what it has been, because, I mean, the criticism that people like Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky have received, I'm at a loss for words for it. Can we please give them the benefit of the doubt? Can we please back off and leave them alone? I mean, they are doing a fabulous job. The connection that Kylie Cantrell has with her fans is something that I've always noticed, and I forever and always will be appreciative of. I don't know why Kylie Cantrell's political point of view has found its way into the conversation, but I want Kylie Cantrell to know that even though she has received her fair share of criticism and doesn't Google herself anymore or watch videos of herself on TikTok, that to me really hurts me, because I've always been the biggest Kylie Cantrell fan out there. I have watched Kylie Cantrell ever since she was like 10 years old. And it really hurts me when people actually go out of their way to comment about Kylie Cantrell in such a negative fashion, which there's absolutely no need for. Kylie is somebody who hasn't even lived yet. And when she does finally live, the magic that she is going to create is going to blow our minds. I know for sure, while I can't speak for everybody, the magic that she is going to instill in all of our minds and what she is yet to create is going to be absolutely fabulous. I remember years ago when I was the biggest Hannah Montana fan ever, so much so that I was the only guy in the movie theater every time Hannah Montana would have a movie. I remember in April of 2009 being there for the Hannah Montana movie premiere, and I was the only guy in the theater. But did you think I cared on that night? I didn't care at all. All I cared about was that I was there to support Miley Cyrus. I went in there with a heart and a half. I went in there with an open heart and an open mind, and I loved it. I love the music, I love the story, and I'm going to love the story of Descendants and Zombies for forever, because this is the first two franchises that have blown my mind in a considerable amount of time. Hannah Montana and High School Musical were the first two franchises to do it, and Descendants and Zombies were the first two franchises that actually inspired me to move into a house so close to a nearby chemical plant and a soda plantation that could explode. Every day of my life, I am living in fear of zombies coming in through my window, a chemical plant exploding. There literally is a chemical plant and a soda plantation that produces lime soda literally 5 minutes away from me. That is really cool, and it is kind of a really thrilling experience. I have to tell you, I have enjoyed covering Descendants and Zombies for what feels like forever. I first got a look at the Zombies franchise in 2018. That was 7.5 years ago. And at that point in my life, I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know what kind of direction my career was heading in. But Zombies really helped me figure it out, because Zombies was a movie about acceptance. Zombie was a movie about a struggle for power. Zombies was about a movie where a human and a zombie could coexist in a world that seemingly was impossible in all of our minds. But ever since I saw Zombies, I thought that anything was possible. It brought me back to, when I went to school, and it was actually cool to go to school, because Zombies came out long after I had graduated high school. And the cool thing is about Zombies is people were watching Zombies when they were 6, 7 years old, and now they're watching it when they're even in high school. So that is really cool. But what Zombies brought me back to was when it was really cool to go to high school. I went to high school in the 90s. The 90s was a really fun time to have lived through. Kylie Cantrell wants to go back in time if she was in possession of a pocket watch and lived through in the 1990s. I would love to do it again too, because I used to love playing video games on, an old-fashioned computer. I used to love playing video games on a Super Nintendo. If you didn't have Super Nintendo when you were in high school years ago, you weren't cool. And then, of course, there was the era of Nintendo 64. Seeing the Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears excel to the heights of their popularity, playing old-fashioned board games like 13 Dead End Drive. From what I hear, Freya Sky is a really big fan of board games. I don't know what board games she plays. I've heard rumors of her planning to play board games like Monopoly and stuff. I love how she's a board game fanatic, because I collected a lot of board games when I was a kid, and I collected every board game there was. My darling, I collected Hungry Hungry Hippos, Trouble, Clue, 13 Dead End Drive was one of my all-time favorites, the classic Monopoly. I have a cabinet actually full of these board games. So, I have a greater appreciation for the 1990s, but I would have loved to have been able to pull a Phineas and Ferb and take people like Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky back to the 1990s just so they could have lived that time period out and find out what it was really all about. And then, of course, Meg Donnelly was born in the year 2000, and that was when PlayStation 2 first premiered, and I was the biggest PlayStation 2 fan out there. I was a PlayStation fanatic back in the year 2000. I'll take you back a little bit further. In 1994, PlayStation was first released. Now, I didn't get my first PlayStation until 1998, but I remember it was on the bottom shelf of a Toys R Us, a local Toys R Us. I went in there and I paid $209 for my first PlayStation, and I loved it so much. I also used to love watching Saturday morning cartoons in the 1990s. I used to look forward to the new animated Spider-Man episode. I used to look forward to the latest episode of the Power Rangers. And I'm talking old school Power Rangers. Austin St. John and Jason David Frank and Amy Jo Johnson as the original Pink Power Ranger. I think Freya Sky, if she would have been alive back in the 1990s, she would have made an awesome Pink Power Ranger, because I know Catherine Sutherland years ago portrayed the second Pink Power Ranger after Amy Jo Johnson left after 135 episodes. And I remember that Saturday morning when the power coin was transferred from Amy Jo Johnson to Catherine Sutherland. And there's just something about Freya Sky's voice that fits perfectly with the new Pink Power Ranger. I would have loved to have seen her had the power coin and become the new Pink Power Ranger, because she would have done a fabulous job. I got that from all the karate fighting that we saw in the Zombie Swore Down of the Vampires movie. She was so into her character and the characteristics, which was what I was talking about her a couple of weeks ago, about how, character traits and stuff like that, and how you have to understand character psychology. She would have been absolutely phenomenal as a Pink Power Ranger by how she could do all those karate moves. Unquestionably, I think that Freya Sky could really do a number on me and kick my ass, which is why if there ever is a zombie apocalypse, I would want her on my zombie apocalyptic fighting team. I mentioned how I wanted people like Stitch and Meg Donnelly, and definitely Freya Sky would have to be on my zombie fighting team. By the way, if there is a girl out there who can kick a whole lot of ass, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button on this YouTube channel, because I need all the ass kickers that I can get for my zombie fighting team, because you never know when a zombie breakout can occur. And as I mentioned here on this show, I live on an island, and it is incredibly difficult to find your way off of this island if you don't get off of the island by a plane. If there ever is a zombie breakout, there are only two ways off of this island, really. Preferably, there is a boat or there is a plane. A car is not really going to get you far on this island, because there's only two ways off of it: by plane that could crash and boat that could crash and sink. So either way is not good for me. I don't care how people say you're safer in a car if there's a zombie apocalypse. It's safer in a plane than you are in a car if there's a zombie apocalypse. I really don't know. I would love to be living with Meg Donnelly if there ever was a zombie breakout, and I would just love for her to look at me and say, "Hey, Jonathan Clarke, I'm zombified. Do you have any crazy pills I could take?" And just watch her go over to my crazy pill cover and take a bunch of pills because she thought she was a zombie. But, notwithstanding that, I would definitely help Meg Donnelly out of that situation. I loved the chemistry between Meg Donnelly and Mila Manheim. I was a big fan of that. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it with Malachi Burton portraying Victor and the portrayal of Nova by Freya Sky. They will find a way of doing it, but preferably out of the four of them, I think the romance between Zed and Addison, those two characters, was absolutely phenomenal. It gave me hope that anybody out there could find a true love and fall in love with them for eternally. It really gave me hope. The romances that we saw in both franchises, no matter what romance you were talking about, we have yet to see romances in The Rise of Red, because The Rise of Red was a movie to introduce us to the new characters and what they were all about. But these romances gave me hope. Now, this is coming from a loser who had no girlfriend for his date at the high school prom, and had his heart broken more times than I choose to remember. But these romances really gave me hope. Hearing Zed and Addison's characters be the first of the franchises to say the words "I love you" in the script really brought this one to life. They said it at the beginning of the movie and at the end of the movie when I believe Zed was going to become completely zombified. I think that would have been the perfect way to introduce Jonathan Clarke as Zed's brother, the more handsome, more powerful brother that could have had the power of healing him to bring him back to life. Notwithstanding that if he would have died, Jonathan Clarke would have gladly come in there and been Addison's new love interest for Zombies 5. The release window for Zombies 5 looks like anywhere between now and mid-2027, but I'm really excited. I love all the speculation on what was in that vortex. And I mentioned here yesterday how I would have loved the opportunity to have jumped inside of that vortex just to find out what was coming next with the Zombies franchise. Because one of the cool things about Zombies is you don't know what is coming next. You can pretty much predict what will happen in the next chapter of Descendants. We know that Red is getting a sister. We know there is going to be a sibling quarrel. We know it has something to do with the consequences of time travel, why she has a sister now, and obviously her mother's actions in the last one. We know all of this because it's pretty evident and it's abundantly clear, but what you never know about the Zombies franchise is just how unpredictable it is. I mean, you take, for instance, the Worlds Collide tour. Did you ever think for one moment that a guy dressed up as Shrimpy was going to come out on stage and do the whole, rah-ha-ha kind of thing? I have a lot of respect for those guys and those big foam heads. I would love the opportunity to have been Shrimpy for the Worlds Collide tour. Either Shrimpy or the voice of Descendants or Zombies. When the countdown clock first kicked off the production, I would love the opportunity to have went like this. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't know why they didn't have a voiceover guy. I would have loved to have done that. Either that or be Shrimpy. Because I have a lot of respect for people who don the foam heads when you least expect it. But getting back on track here, without going off into a tangent, I think that this franchise has been so unpredictable. We have seen the introduction of zombies, the introduction of werewolves by Zombies 2, aliens by Zombies 3, vampires by Zombies 4, not only vampires, but the introduction of daywalkers and nightwalkers, and the blood fruit. And because I have a fruit tree outside of my house that apples grow on every year, and I have an appreciation for picking apples and fruit in the summertime, because of working in orchards and stuff, I think that was a phenomenal addition to have made to the Zombies franchise. And the scenes they shot for this in the daytime, and especially in the nighttime, which I have a huge amount of respect for them for having done, because it is extremely difficult to shoot scenes in the nighttime. It's difficult and challenging enough to shoot scenes in the daytime, but it's even far more difficult to shoot scenes in the nighttime because you can't see what's coming at you. You can't see what's coming at you from behind you. There are so many predictable things that have happened and have yet to happen in the Zombies franchise. I also love the phrase, stay calm and zombie on, because it is a surefire indication that anything is possible. And you haven't lived until you've lived with a guy who thought he was a werewolf and used to howl at the moon. That was an experience that I will never ever forget. We are living in a world really where there are a lot of idiot guys making up the world's population who I am convinced, if anything, they are really zombies because they don't know the first thing of how to treat a girl with respect. So I think that, if anything, for all the zombie guys that were watching this, it definitely taught us how to treat girls better and with far more respect, if anything. And it gave me a greater appreciation for living with a pale complexion. I have been considering red light therapy for years, but I don't know if I'm going to take myself up on that opportunity because I think there's just something cool about living your life openly and freely with an open heart and an open mind, and just not caring what anybody thinks of you, because that's what this movie was about. Either not caring about what anybody thinks of you or acceptance for who you are and having the courage to stand up for what you believe in, who you love the most, and really finding out who your true friends are. Because I've always believed in life, one of the messages that never really was put abundantly clear out there for zombies was that you don't need a whole lot of friends in this lifetime. You just need a few really good friends. If you say have 3 really good friends, you are going places in this lifetime. You may not think it right now, but you will ultimately go places in this lifetime because of those 2 or 3 friends who have never quit on you, and you will ultimately come out on the other side as a stronger person. I mean, I was bullied in high school, I was pushed into lockers, I was tripped in hallways, I was made fun of, I was called names. Anything you could possibly have done to you in high school because I was a real geek, I had done to me or I had happened to me. But it didn't stop me from going to school, getting a degree in journalism, knowing how to produce an awesome show for each and every one of you, thinking the possibility of dressing up as the Mighty Shrimp and coming out on stage and dancing for 15,000 children could have ever been possible. I have never wanted to take away a child's hopes and dreams, and that's why I've always said on this show that every dream is possible no matter what that dream is. And I really have never cared what that dream is. It could have been joining the cheerleading squad. It could have been joining the gym. And if you notice, at the local gyms now, there are a lot more girls signing up for the gym now because of movies like Descendants and Zombies, because the movies were all about empowerment. The movies were all about being stronger. The movies were all about standing up for what you believed in. And I support that because I don't think there's ever been a Disney franchise that has inspired more people to be stronger than what they are now. It is unbelievable, which is why I'm putting it out there that if you are a strong girl, hit the subscribe button. If you think you're strong enough to be a part of this franchise and a part of this beautiful community, hit the subscribe button. Because the cool thing about Zombies is there are so many people who have subscribed to this YouTube channel with so many incredible talents. There are people subscribed here who can dance. There are people who can swim. There are people who can play volleyball subscribed here. I love this community, and I love how horizons have been broadened because of what Descendants and Zombies have instilled in all of our minds. Perhaps you fell in love with this because of the music. Perhaps you fell in love with this because of the love interest that we saw for Zed and Addison and Victor and Nova more recently for Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. Or perhaps you fell in love with it because you didn't know what was coming next for either Descendants or Zombies. Whatever your reasons were for having fallen in love with this franchise, I want you to know that I respect the hell out of you for being here, because when you could have quit on me, you didn't. There were a lot of niches that I used to talk about on the radio or on YouTube that I could never find time in making any sense of. And I lost direction a lot of the time with, what direction my career was headed in. It was very unpredictable for me at times because I didn't know if anyone was ever going to hear my voice. I didn't know if anyone was either going to listen or hear my podcast, but for some unbelievable reason, you guys have made me the voice of Descendants and Zombies. And I know that is somewhat of a ridiculous claim to make, that you guys have made me the voice of Descendants or Zombies. But I'm saying it now. I think this is the #1 Descendants or Zombies themed podcast on the internet, on YouTube. It really is the best Descendants and Zombies YouTube channel on the internet, because nobody ever talks about Descendants or Zombies in this way. I mean, you can watch 10,000 Descendants or Zombies videos, but nobody ever goes out of their way and above and beyond the requirements of a YouTube creator, which is sometimes very challenging, I know, and sometimes you're very limited to your resources and what you can do, because YouTube and podcasting, getting into YouTube being a YouTuber is very, very costly. It is a financial struggle, if anything. So you're very limited to how you can create your show, but so many people go really far with it. They pre-write stuff. I never believed in any of that, using the high-tech. The thing is, it's a financial struggle. All you've really got to know how to do is speak from your heart, and so many people don't know how to do that. You want to support Kylie Cantrell, you want to support Dove Cameron, you want to support your favorite Descendants or Zombie stars in a way that's different from everybody else, but really all you have to do is speak from your heart about them. And if you can speak from your heart about them, a $500 microphone or a $500 camera, which I know I have, but a $500 microphone and a $500 camera is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you from point A to point B if you don't know how to speak about them the right way. Because the reality of it is, we have Kylie Cantrell, we have Dove Cameron, we have Freya Sky, we have Meg Donnelly, who are afraid to Google themselves now because of what they're going to find. I struggled with that for years. There were a lot of times I never wanted to Google myself because I didn't know what I was going to hear, I didn't know what I was going to find, I didn't know what was going to be written about me in a written column. But it's gotten easier over time, because while people criticize me all the time, I know that I create a better YouTube show and I'm a better YouTuber, a far better YouTuber than what they are. And I have each and every one of you to thank for that. I know I was very vocal about Ryan McCartan and his treatment towards Dove Cameron. I was very vocal about that because I don't believe I said anything wrong about Ryan McCartan. When it became all about Ryan's image and how he just wanted everything to seem so flawless and perfect, it just became very frustrating to me. When I heard people criticizing Ruby Rose Turner because they believed that her time with the Descendants franchise was going to be very short-lived, it became very frustrating to me. There are more nights that I've ever admitted to publicly on this show that I've had tears in my eyes because Ruby is not going to be a part of Descendants 5. And actually last night I just finished my latest bag of tacky chips. I bought the blue ones this time. They are very spicy chips, and I wouldn't recommend that people eat them unless they can tolerate spicy food. I've also been meaning to take Ruby Rose Turner's father, Andrew, out for a cup of tea and an English muffin, because I know he's very fond of those to discuss Ruby's future. I would love for Ruby to come live with me, in all honesty, and it breaks my heart that Ruby is not a part of the Worlds Collide Tour, because initially going into this, I thought she was going to be a part of it, because her role as Bridget was so beautifully done. It was so beautifully demonstrated how, no matter what you're going through in life, your personal struggles, anything and everything is possible. And I want Ruby Rose Turner to know that I am forever and eternally grateful for everything that she gave us as the character Bridget. Because when we had our hopes, drowned in sorrow, she really brought us back to life. She was the sunlight that washed away every bit of sorrow that we have ever encountered. And the Descendants franchise, because of people like Ruby, became our light out of darkness every single time, just as you guys were the light out of darkness for me. I've often referred to your phones as a beacon of light, and what I mean by your phones being a beacon of light is every single time that you watch one of these videos and you feel lost, or you feel like you can't make sense of your own life or what's going on around you, all you have to do is just go out, point your phone up at the stars, and as your flashlight lights up at the back of your phone for either hitting the subscribe button or hitting the like button for these videos, know that you are sending a beacon of light out there for somebody else who can find these videos, who may be going through a personal struggle or something they can't make sense of because they've lost the one they've loved, or they don't feel like they have any friends that listen to them or anybody who listens to them. Know that every single time you hit the subscribe button here on this YouTube channel, you represent hope. You represent hope for somebody out there who, when they were 9 years old, they used to watch Descendants and they used to see themselves through the eyes of their favorite character. No matter if it was Mel, no matter if it was Evie, no matter if it was Carlos, no matter if it was Jay, no matter if it was Red, no matter if it was Chloe, no matter if it was Bridget. Whoever you saw yourself through and continue to see yourself vicariously through the eyes of, there is a reason that you do. Regardless if it was because of how they represented kindness, regardless if it was because they let you know that everything was going to be okay, because it really is. This channel represents hope. It represents kindness, and a message of kindness that will never ever be duplicated by anybody else who devotes he or she's time to creating Descendants or Zombies videos for each and every one of you. The reason why I will come back later on today after I go out and buy Indiana Jones on PlayStation 5, because it's a game that's eluded my collection for forever, and I think Ruby Rose Turner would love to play Indiana Jones. Man, I'm preparing for Ruby Rose Turner to come and live with me for the rest of her life. No matter how many times you're down on your luck, or you feel like there's no hope out there for you, and you feel like you're lost, just know that this YouTube channel is here for you. And I'm not only here for you, but thousands of little girls who have hit the subscribe button here for this YouTube channel who want that same glimmer of hope and look for that same glimmer of hope every day in their life are here because of you. And they're here to be your friends too. Everybody on this YouTube channel is your friend. Everybody who helps behind the scenes creating this YouTube channel that you don't see are here for you. And I want you to know this YouTube channel will always be here for you to jump on here and talk about your favorite moments in Descendants history, your favorite Descendants characters, what they've meant to you for all of your life, the music, the plot, how it unfolded, what we've seen, what we have yet to see. I'm really excited about it. I know I'm a really crazy guy, but I'm a really sweet guy too. And I really do love having you here. I love seeing people hit the subscribe button all the time, which, by the way, if you haven't done, please do that. Please light up your phone and hit the subscribe button, because your kindness really does go a long way, and it can really make a difference and a significant impact and forever leave an imprint on somebody's heart who needs it. Because there is somebody out there looking for kindness today that they probably haven't seen, and it could help them make a whole lot of sense of what's happening around them. You know, I've dealt with a lot of personal struggles. I've battled demons all of my life, but every single time I thought I was lost, I had each and every one of you. And I love you for that. I love that you're just here and you love Descendants and Zombies as much as what I do. And for that, I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you from my heart to yours. I want to say thank you for opening up your heart when you didn't have to this YouTube channel and taking a chance on me. Because I guarantee you, and I can promise you, you can search an eternity and forever, but you will never find Descendants or Zombies videos that are this good. You will never hear a guy's voice telling you that everything is going to be okay because he believes that everything is going to be okay. Maybe not necessarily because he knows that everything is going to be okay, but he knows that everything is going to be okay because it has to be. It has to be. We were all put on this earth to help one another. And if I can't come on YouTube and I can't let you know that everything is going to be okay, then my purpose hasn't been fulfilled. I feel like I let myself down, and more importantly, I let each and every one of you down, because life is sweeter when all of us are. And we can be sweeter together, because the more kindness we spread in this lifetime, the better this world is going to be. That's what my mom, as a school teacher, she taught grade 4 and 5 for 25 years of her life prior to her passing away in 2006, the year after Ruby was born. That's what she would have wanted. And I like to believe that I am spreading her message of kindness that she tried to instill in the minds of everybody she taught as a high school teacher. Just thank you so much for just being here and believing in Descendants and Zombies as much as what I have. And I can promise you this YouTube channel will always be here for each and every one of you. So, if you have not subscribed, what do you say you do? What do you say you make a difference? What do you say we go from 2,740 subscribers to 2,745, just like that? Because life is sweeter when all of you are. Thank you so much for having watched this video, finding my thumbnail and clicking on it. I hope I have made you feel empowered. I hope I made you make sense of your personal struggles and battles every day. And if you haven't realized your dream, hey, the day's not over yet, and good things await you on the horizon. All you have to do is look a little bit further to find them. You may not be able to see them now, but trust me, you will. Because life is sweeter when all of you are. So keep riding that horse off into the sunset, and who knows what's going to happen next. With that having been said, bye YouTube. I will see you again later on today in just a few hours.